Good Tuesday afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. We're going to be continuing in the book of Deuteronomy, the third part, and Deuteronomy is a very large book. So before you come in the chat, please hit that thumbs up for me, subscribe, and share this video. So, as everyone knows, today is election day. So I did go in, me and my husband together, and cast our vote. And I said, "Where's my sticker?" And they said, "Well, we ran out earlier." So there must have been a tremendous amount of people voting. And normally I wouldn't bring up something connected to politics on this channel, but this is a very pivotal moment in America today, and there's a lot of things going on. And if you can get out there and vote, please do so. You know, it's not only for us, it is for our children, our grandkids, our great grandkids. And I do encourage everyone to get out there and vote. And like it says in the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So hopefully you guys will get out there and vote. When we went in, there was hardly, we got right in, went over and cast our ballots, and out the door we went. There must have been a big rush during earlier today, but we got in and out with no problem. But according to the man that handed out the I voted stickers, they were all gone, so I didn't get one. But yeah, I think it's everyone's civic duty to vote. It is your right, and everyone should be in there, voting for their country. This is a really important election. Lots at stake. So I like I said, I'm kind of fuzzy around the edges there. I don't know if it's YouTube or what, but anyway, that's my normally I would not bring something like that up because it is political. But like I said, one nation under God. So that's why I brought that up. And I've been so incredibly busy packing stuff up. It's unbelievable. And I'm still not done. I still have an item that's rather long. And if I put it in a box that's long enough, it's going to be really deep. So I keep going. But it's, when you sell glass, you got to prepare it in a certain way, and you just can't, toss it in a box and give it a lick and a promise, as my stepmother used to say. But anyway, I'm getting there, and it's like, wow, I find all these beautiful things, but boy, they sure have some weight and unusual configurations. But anyway, we'll give it just a few more minutes for some people to come in. It's beautiful in Henryville. It's 80 degrees here. What wonderful weather that we're having out there. But we all know that bottom will drop out sooner or later. But it's just kind of nice to have that. It's kind of breezy. It's about 80 degrees. But this is November, and we know Old Man Winter is on his way. So we'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, we are in Deuteronomy, at the ninth chapter, beginning at that. And it says, "Hear, O Israel, you are to cross over the Jordan today and go into dispossess nations greater and mightier than yourself, cities great and fortified up to heaven, a people great and tall, the descendants of the Akalim, whom you know and of whom you have heard it said, who can stand before the descendants of Enoch? Therefore, understand today that your Lord your God is he who goes before you as a consuming fire. He will destroy them and bring them down before you. So you shall drive them out and destroy them quickly, as the Lord has said to you. Do not think in your heart after the Lord your God has cast them out before you, saying, because of my righteousness the Lord has brought me in to possess this land. But it is because of the wickedness of the nations that the Lord is driving them out from before you. So we all know that the Lord wants people to be in the land that are keep the commandments and hold a true fear of the Lord, which is not what you would call an intimidating fear. But he wanted certain people, if they earned something, he wanted them to have it. So he saw fit to make their way through everything and obliviate their enemies. It is not because of your righteousness or your uprightness of your heart that you go in to possess this land, but because of the wickedness of the nations that the Lord your God drives them out from before you, and that he may fulfill the word the Lord swore unto your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Therefore, understand that the Lord your God is not giving you this good land to possess because of your righteousness, for you are a stiff necked people. Remember, do not forget how you provoked the Lord your God in wrath in the wilderness. We all seen as Moses took the Israelites into the wilderness, and they were complaining, well, why did you bring us out of Egypt just to die? Well, to me, if God had done all those miraculous works in front of them, that they should not question that. He has already proven who he is and what he can do, but yet, being human, we always complain. And but patience is definitely a virtue when it comes to this. And he's saying, well, I took you out of bondage and made a way out for you, and you're still doubting. So from the day that you departed from the land of Egypt until you came to this place, you have been rebellious against the Lord. Also, in Horeb, you provoked the Lord to wrath, so that the Lord was angry enough with you to have destroyed you. When I went up into the mountains to receive the tablets of stone, the 10 Commandments, the tables of the covenant which the Lord made with you, then I stayed on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. I neither ate bread nor drank water. Then the Lord delivered to me 2 tablets of stone written with the finger of God, and on them were all the words which the Lord had spoken to you on the mountain from the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days and 40 nights that the Lord gave me the 2 tablets of stone, the tablets of the covenant. Then the Lord said to me, arise, go quickly from here, for your people whom you have brought out of Egypt have acted corruptly. They have quickly turned aside from the way which I commanded them. They have made themselves a molded image. Furthermore, the Lord spoke to me, saying, I have seen these people, and indeed they are stiff-necked people. Let me alone, that I may destroy them and blot out their name from under heaven. And I will make all you a nation mightier and greater than they. Now, when I read about the 40 days and 40 nights, it reminded me of the story of Noah's Ark, because it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. And that's what came to my mind, because God created this space for the people to enjoy, and they were doing all kinds of things, sinful idols, blasphemy, the whole thing. So he just totally kind of wiped that out and started all over. But that's what came up in my mind. So I turned and came down from the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire, and the two tablets of the covenant were in my two hands. And I looked, and behold, you had sinned against the Lord your God, had made up yourselves a molded calf. You had turned aside quickly from the way which the Lord had commanded you. Then I took the two tablets and threw them out of my two hands and broke them before your eyes. And I fell down before the Lord as at the first 40 days and 40 nights I neither ate bread nor drank water because of all your sin which you committed in doing wickedly in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger. For I was afraid of the anger and hot displeasure with which the Lord was angry with you to destroy you. But the Lord listened to me at that time also, and the Lord was very angry with Aaron and would have destroyed him. So I prayed for Aaron also at the same time. Then I took your sin, the calf which you had made, and burned it and with fire and crushed it and ground it into very small, until it was as fine as dust, and I threw its dust into the brook that descended from the mountains. Also at Teberah and Massa and Hibroth, Hathaavah, you provoked the Lord to wrath. Likewise, when the Lord sent you from Kadesh Barnea, saying, "Go up and possess the land which I have given you," then you rebelled against the commandment of the Lord your God, and you did not believe him nor obey his voice. You have been rebellious against the Lord from the day that I knew you. Thus I prostrated myself before the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. I kept prostrating myself because the Lord had said he would destroy you. Therefore I prayed to the Lord and said, O Lord God, do not destroy your people and your inheritance, whom you have redeemed through your greatness, whom you have brought out of the land of Egypt with a mighty hand. Remember your servants Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Do not look on the stubbornness of this people or their wickedness or their sin, lest the land from you brought us should say, because the Lord was not able to bring them to the land which he promised them, and because he hated them, he has brought them to kill them in the wilderness. Yet they are your people and your inheritance, whom you brought out by your mighty power and by your outstretched arm. So that this reading reminds me of how, sometimes people are ungrateful, and once you get them out of their situation, they forget who brought them out of their problem, and then they turn right back to their old self. And that's how a lot of people are. A lot of people forget to be thankful for all the gifts that God gives us and for life itself, because in fact he is our creator and the reason why we are all here and why we have everything we have, because he is, in this world, we really own nothing. It all belongs to him, because he was gracious enough to let us have what we need. And a lot of people don't have food, shelter, or anything like that. And it's really sad, because if you think about it, how fortunate are we to have those things, and for God to make a way for us to have these things. But yeah, sometimes people are they're ungrateful. Once they get what they want, then they forget about who got them to where what they wanted, and then they just forget about it and go on their merry way. So I think that's kind of what happened in this previous paragraph with the Israelites, but that, we're all people and we're not perfect, but some people, have a strong will and they want to do what they want to do no matter who it affects. They don't care, and that's what I'm kind of seeing, in these words here. So we're going to begin at chapter 10. At that time, the Lord said to me, hew for yourself 2 tablets of stone like the first, and come up to me on the mountain and make yourself an ark of wood. And I will write on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke, and you shall put them in the ark. Well, yeah, this has a lot to do with Noah's ark. So I made an ark of acacia wood, hewed in 2 tablets of stone like the first, and went up the mountain having the 2 tablets in my hand. And he wrote on the tablets, according to the first writing, the 10 commandments which the Lord had spoken to you in the mountain from the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly, and the Lord gave them to me. Then I turned and came down from the mountain and put the tablets in the ark which I had made, and there they are, just as the Lord had commanded me. Now the children of Israel journeyed through the wells of Beni Jaakan to Mosera, where Aaron died, where he was buried, and Eleazar his son ministered as the priest instead. From there they journeyed to Gudodai, and from Gudodai to Jotbethi, a land of rivers of water. At that time the Lord separated the tribe of Levi to bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, to stand there before the Lord, to minister to him, and to bless in his name to this day. Therefore Levi has no portion nor inheritance with his brethren. The Lord is his inheritance, just as the Lord God promised him. As at the first time I stayed in the mountain 40 days and 40 nights, the Lord also heard me at that time, and the Lord chose not to destroy you. Then the Lord said to me, arise, begin your journey before the people, that they may go in and possess the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Hey Brian, welcome in. We're in Deuteronomy. One thing about it, reading makes you thirsty. It's good to see you, Brian. Welcome in. Okay, and now, Israel, what does the Lord your God require of you but to fear the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, and to love him, to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul? I am too, Brian. I'm glad you made it. I know sometimes we get busy and things come up, and now let's see, where is that commandment? The Lord delighted only in your fathers to love them, and he chose their descendants after them, you above all peoples as it in this day. Therefore, circumcise the foreskin of all of your heart, and be stiff-necked no longer. For the Lord your God of gods and the Lord of lords, the great God, mighty, awesome, who shows no partiality nor takes a bribe. So I had a thought and I just lost it. But what was I was thinking something? He administers justice for the fatherless and the widow, and loves the stranger, giving him food and clothing. Therefore, love the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You shall fear the Lord your God. You shall serve him, and to him you shall hold fast and take oaths in his name. He is your praise. He is your God, who has done for you these great and awesome things which your eyes have seen. That's in relate. He's reminding them, hey, you were in bondage And I showed you all these great deeds, and yet you still complain because that's how people are. It wasn't enough that he brought them out of their bondage for over 400 years, and he brought them out, and still, while they were in the wilderness, they didn't believe that he would provide for them as he did. And that's what angered him so bad about these Israelites and their images and stuff like that. Your fathers went down to Egypt with 70 persons, and now the Lord your God has made you as the stars of heaven in multitude. Therefore you shall love the Lord your God and keep his charge, his statutes, his judgments, that his commandments always. I think a lot of times this has really been kind of heavy on my mind. I don't think that the prayer should have ever been taken out of these schools. I know there's people that don't believe, but don't take the belief of someone and make them feel as if they're different. When they took that prayer out of the school, they made a big mistake. And as for me, whichever candidate gets in, I hope they change that, because young people, they're very influential, and that needs to go back in that classroom. You know, yes, people have their rights and what they believe in, but what about the rights of people that believe in God? It is almost like that they're being cast aside, and sort of like an embarrassment to people, and that's not one thing to be. That's one thing that I would like to see instituted back in these schools, because it's just ridiculous. Everyone has the right to worship God. I mean, and that is being taken away from children like it's a bad thing or they're radical, and it's wrong. I would like to see that prayer right back in these schools, and let these children pray if they want to. I think that that's where everything that needs to be instituted back on the books to bring that back. And it's not that Christians are judging people, but everyone does have the right to believe in God and really practice that wherever they go, you know. But yeah, they kind of removed that, and I think it was wrong, really wrong, but that's my opinion. Now, today, what can I do? Do not speak with your children who have not known and who have not seen the chastening of the Lord your God. His greatness and his mighty hand has been his outstretched arm, his signs, his acts, which he did in the midst of Egypt, to the Pharaoh king of Egypt, and to all his land. What he did to the army of Egypt, to their horses and to their chariots. Now he made the waters of the Red Sea overflow them as they pursued you, and how the Lord has destroyed them to this day. Okay, I seen a thing on some kind of, it was on, these scientifical channels, that it's not a channel, but it was a comment made that, well, maybe uh, Moses didn't part the Red Sea with God's help. Maybe some uh, weather phenomenon did that. Well, phooey. We know who did that. And for people to make their own based on foolishness, there is no wind on this earth that could part a sea. And it was not a meteor, it was God. And it just really burnt me up when I see stuff like that, because they're trying to see our younger people, which really watch quite a bit of TV, what what that is a subliminal message to take the credit away from God Himself. See, it starts real small, and then once they take the bait, it keeps getting bigger and bigger. But we know who parted that Red Sea. We know, and that just really an astronaut, a whatever phenomenon. Now, Fooey, we know better than that, or at least there's what do you know what that word is? Phenomenon. No, it wasn't. It was God. And for people to try to take the credit away from God, where the credit certainly goes in the first place, it was not a phenomenon. It was God. It had nothing to do with meteorology at all. It was God. I see that and it just fires me up. It just goes to show you how a lot of times TV can put out subliminal message and put things in people's mind in order to get them thinking and away from God. Because we know who did that. I know who did it. But stuff like that really bothers me. They're just taking all the God's uh, magnificent power away, and I don't like that. So anyway, I'll quit griping and we'll move on. Okay, now we're just straight into this day. What He did for you in the wilderness until you came to this place, and what He did to Danathan and Abraham, the sons of Elop and the son of Reuben. Now the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, their households, their tents, and all the substance that was in their possession in the midst of Israel. But your eyes have been seeing every great act of the Lord which He did. Therefore you shall keep every commandment which I command you today, that you may be strong and go in and possess the land which you cross over to possess. So another thing, you see on these history channels where they're in search of the Ark of the Covenant and the chalice that Jesus drank from before His crucifixion, during that his last day. And my personal opinion, they'll never find it. I think possibly in the last days that, we don't know what wonders that we'll see. The Ark of the Covenant could come right up to the earth. We don't know that, but no man will find that, nor the chalice that Jesus drank from before He was arrested and so on and so forth. I don't believe they'll ever find it because I don't believe it's really meant to be found, really. But they're looking for it. And that you may prolong your days in the land which the Lord swore to give your fathers to them and their descendants, land flowing with milk and honey. For the land which you go to possess is not like the land of Egypt from which you came, where you sowed your seed and watered it by foot as a vegetable garden. But the land which you cross over to possess is a land of hills and valleys, which drinks water from the rain of heaven. A land for which the Lord your God cares. The eyes of the Lord your God are always on it from the beginning of the year to the very end of the year. And it shall be that if you earnestly obey my commandments, which I command you today, to love the Lord your God, serve Him with all your heart and with all your soul, then I will give you the rain for your land in its season, the early rain and the latter rain, that you may gather in your grain, your new wine, and your oil. And I will send grass in your fields for livestock, that you may eat and be filled. Take heed to yourselves, lest your heart be deceived, and you turn aside and serve another gods and worship them, lest the Lord anger be aroused against you, And he shall shut up the heavens so that there will be no rain, and that the land will yield no produce, and you perish quickly from the good land which the Lord has given you. Well, for example, God created the earths and the heavens, the earth and everything on it, the fish in the sea, the trees, the beautiful flowers, the land for farming things, and He gave us everything. He really did. And the only thing He asked is that you obey His commandments and love Him with all your heart and soul and being. And that's all He asks. And sometimes, we as humans, we take it for granted, but He is responsible for everything and everyone on this earth, because He is absolutely the creator of everything. He really is. And, I see a lot of development going up, and not saying I'm not against development. It's good if it's homes for people and will help people, but it's taking up so many wooded areas, and we know trees do supply our oxygen. And it's like it's becoming one concrete jungle, after the other. And another concern I have is they're building so much that, where are they going to bury people? They've got construction going on everywhere. That's my concern. Where are they going to, there's a lot of people in this world, and that really concerned me. Where are they going to put these people? But therefore you shall lay up these words of mine in your heart and in your soul, and bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be frontless between your eyes. You shall teach them to your children, speaking of them. You sit in your house when you walk by the way, then you lie down, and then you rise up. So it's saying right here, you teach these things to your children. Well, it's good to, you teach them at home, and then you go to school and they won't allow prayer in there. So, you know, children learn by repetition. And it's like they feel like they're living in a double world where God exists on one side and everything goes on the other side. That's what really upsets me. When we get away from God, the prayer and everything, that's when all the problems start. You know, if they want to do something in these schools, why don't they do something about the bullying that occurs all the time? Why don't they do something about that? Don't worry about the person that believes in God and wants to pray. Let him handle those little demons that are bullying. That's what's wrong with society. Back in the day when we went to school, why, we would have been sent to the office, and that's when they used that paddle. And then you would have had a note sent home to the parent saying, so and so's bullying, and if it doesn't stop, we're looking at you for that because you're the teacher. And it's really so sad how society in a school lets bullying go on, and it's wrong. That should be taken care of. That's very harmful to a young person, and it should never happen. But you see, they put these people in there that will not spineless, that will not stand up to other people, parents, and say, "Hey, look, your kid is bullying somebody, and here's your choice. You either get it straightened up, or he won't be in this school until he does get straightened up." And see, that behavior starts with those parents. Back in the day, we knew better than to act like that, because I don't believe, they did use the paddle, and, you know, That was the great, what would you call that? The great encourager, as you would call it. But, I'm not for being abusive to any kid, but see, a lot of times, a lot of what they learn starts at home. So, that it's terrible, but you know, if you get a principal that has a spine and says, "Hey, look, if you don't get he or she straightened up, there's going to be a problem." And the first thing they want to, if that happened, the first thing they'd want to do is get an attorney, even though their kid was totally wrong and they know it because they taught him, he or she. But it doesn't seem like there's any decency and people being bullied, and I really don't like that. It fires me up. So you shall teach them to your children, speaking of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. See, that's that. They're telling them to teach that child in the manner in which the Lord wants them to, and it should be taught. But sometimes that's not the case. And you shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates, that your days and the days of your children may be multiplied in the land of which the Lord swore to your fathers to give them, like the days of heavens alone above, above the earth. For for if you actually keep all these commandments which I command you to do, to love the Lord your God, to walk all in his ways, and to hold fast to him, then the Lord will drive out all these nations from before you, and you will dispossess greater and mightier nations than yourselves. And every place on which the sole of your foot treads shall be yours, from the wilderness and Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even to the western sea, shall be your territory. No man shall be able to stand against you. The Lord your God will be put the dread of you and the fear of you upon all the land where you tread, just as he has said to you. Behold, I set before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I commanded you today, and the curse, if you do not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn aside from the way which I command you today, to go after the gods which you have not known. Now it shall be, when your Lord your God has brought you into the land which you go to possess, that you shall put the blessing on Mount Gerizim and the curse on Mount Ebal. Are they not for the other side of Jordan, toward the setting and the setting sun, in the land of the Canaanites, who dwell in the plain opposite Gilgal, which there beeth trees of Morag? For you will cross over Jordan and go to possess the land which the Lord your God has given you, and you will possess it and dwell in it, and you shall be careful to observe all the statutes and judgment which I set before you today. Now, in some cases, you know, being human, we're going to fall away from things sometimes, and we're going to sin. But you know what? If we go to God earnestly and fervently and say, I'm sorry, I know I was wrong, please forgive me, and he will say, go and sin no more. But he doesn't expect you to repeat that same sin and keep asking for forgiveness, because judgment will befall for sure, because he knows you're just, you know, doing it for that moment. But like I said, we're all human. We'll all fall from time to time. if not our own fault, it could be because of someone else. It's not, we live in a sinful world and it's everywhere. I mean, it's everywhere you go. I've always been the type of person that I usually have one good acquaintance that I live around, and that's it. Because I know anytime, and I'm not judging anybody, anytime you put a group of people together, they're going to start talking, and I don't want that. I really, and I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that, sometimes when you have more than, hey, Sheena, welcome in. And Sheena's listening and delivering. You be careful out there, Sheena. I know you've been working hard. It's good to see you. So, you have to, I guess even when I was in school, I only had one friend that I picked to be around. And that was it. And you know what? The friends were all the people that probably didn't have a lot of money or whatever and didn't have things like other people. I always picked what people referred to as the underdog because that's the way I was, not because I thought I was better, but because sometimes you have to be a friend to the friendless. I am on your Oh, I'm on my car stereo waiting for them to load me. Okay, good. And we miss you, Miss Sheena. We haven't seen you lately. But yeah, it's not that I'm saying that I'm better than somebody. You just choose who you keep company with wisely. But and moving down it, and you shall be careful to observe all the statutes and judgments which I have set before you today. These things are the statutes and judgment which you shall be careful to observe in the land which the Lord God of your fathers is giving you to possess. All the days that you live on the earth, you shall utterly destroy all the places where the nations which you shall dispossess serve their gods on the high mountains and on the hills and under every green tree. Couldn't you imagine, like I was saying, God is responsible for this earth, everything on it, the trees, the flowers, the fish in the ocean and the sea. And he had these commandments specifically in mind, and he had to destroy the earth one other time because of all the stuff, the vileness and everything. But I think he initiated these commandments because it's the right thing, and I also think he initiated those to make society a better place where people respect one another. There's no stealing, no murdering. And, that's the commandments that he set forth. That was his plan. The master plan was the creation of the earth. I fasted for 7 days and prayed it was while denying the flesh. Yeah, I can't fast because I've got low blood sugar, but it, I think those, and like I said, they took the prayer out of school. That was a big mistake. Yes, if someone is offended by someone praying and their connection to God, and then the school upholds that, that is wrong. They've taken rights away. What about the rights of the person that's not doing one thing wrong, and but somebody's offended by that? Really? Don't take away. There's people on this earth that actually believe in God and everything He has done. Don't take that away from people, and it's wrong. And I would like to see prayers brought back in school. I really would, because it's ridiculous. Instead of, and then they should take care of these bullies as well. Get a spine and do what you're supposed to. It's wrong to bully somebody. If you don't have a spine, check out and put someone else in their place. You know, I know. I know what you mean, Sheena. If they had me as a principal, there'd be a lot of fur flying. No, I wouldn't be one because I'd have to deal with parents that think their little kids are angels while they were bullying somebody, and they wouldn't like my response. Where's the rules in school? Is there any rules at all? What do those rules state? Does it talk about bullying of other people? Does it talk about the penalty of bullying? I can't even talk today. Let me get a drink of water. But that's why I emphasized, in the beginning, encouraging people to vote if they haven't already. Me and my husband voted, and this is not political. This is life. There has been a great change in this world, and it's pivotal. And I'm telling you, you need to get out there and vote. I'm not, as you notice, I'm not, of course, I voted, but I'd never say who I voted for because that's my prerogative and the prerogative of anyone out there in the chat. But, this world is in bad shape. And and I'm really fearful, you guys. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I am. It's really scary, especially for our kids, grandkids, great grandkids. I mean, this country is in a state of duress, and I'm not saying that to scare anybody. Yes, we do, Brian. I did that last night. Yep, Sheena. And this isn't, I'm not getting political. Remember what I said? One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, I'm not getting all political, but I'm just saying go out there and vote. Please do, because I'm scared, guys. This is the first election where I am actually nervous about what's going to happen because we don't know. What I do know is a lot of people. I didn't get my vote sticker because so many people voted during the early morning hours. It wasn't even funny. They ran out. So that tells you that people, they voted and they've seen something and they went in and made their voice. No, they really shouldn't, Brian. And see, that's terrible. You know, freedom of religion, we're all individuals and we all have beliefs. And, a kid should not, see, you're teaching those good things to your kids at home about the Bible and how they're supposed to obey those commandments. Then they go to school and they feel intimidated about praying because of the school system took the prayer out of the school because it would offend somebody. Well, what about the rights of the person that does? What about that? See, everything's gone to pot. Yeah, it's been the closer it come, the more nervous I became because this is so important. Our very livelihood hangs in the balance of this election. I'm telling you. So, I'm not being political. I'm just saying that God gives us the right to voice our opinion, vote when it's time, and things like that, because that's important, because that's going to decide your kids' future, your grandchildren's future, and everything like that. And if this would be political, if I come on here talking about either opponent and saying, well, they did this and they did that, did you see this, did you see that? It's not what it's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying that I care so much about you guys that I want this nation to be prosperous. I don't want to see no veteran out in the street. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see people go hungry. I want them taken care of. I'm a very sensitive person, and it just really destroys, I just don't like it. Lines was wrapped around the church to vote. Yeah, because this is a big one, you guys. Oh, yeah, we must care about our future generations. And it's not over with, guys. This is just the beginning. There could be whoever is victorious, there could be the biggest uprising in America you've ever seen, and it could get ugly before it's over with. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the future generations, like our young people, we want something good for them. We don't want them to live from paycheck to paycheck. We want them to have every opportunity that's available. I know, Brian, that's a sticky situation. We want them to have everything that we didn't have. America is the land of opportunity, be it, you know, people can be whatever they want to, given the opportunity to do so. But the young people are the next Americans that are going to be around in this country when it's all said and done. Yeah, for peace. And I tell you, the stuff that's been going on around this world, I agree, Laura. It's scary, and it makes me nervous. I bet people will be ordering to stay away from nuts. I carry my cross, I'll get it for them. Yeah, she's been doing food deliveries and stuff. And, people may not want to get out. There might be such a horrible thing that innocent people could get hurt. And I'm not forecasting doom, but we know what's at stake, and we've seen the radicalism. And yeah. Hey, my pal Sal, welcome in. Yeah, Brian, you're right. He wants people to get along. He really does. He never intended for the earth to be this way. He created it. We're all his creation and everything on it. And he didn't create it to be that way. But I'm telling you, somewhere along the way, it really went wrong. Good to see you, my pal Sal. Something, and it's getting worse. But like I said, I'm not up here cheering for either side. I'm just saying, and this normally I wouldn't talk about this if I didn't feel like it was very important, guys. You know, I'm just saying that, yeah, Sheena says, all I know, whatever happens, God knew it first. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true, Sheena. Man, that is the truth beyond all truths. That's for sure. And, like I heard oh, yeah, it's very important. It's so important that, like I said, I'll be a nervous wreck by the time this is over with. I'm just, you know, um, there's so many things that, we have oil in this country, but they won't drill for it because they can't make any money from doing that. And quite frankly, I'm getting sick and tired of these gas prices going up and down and up and down, and food. And folks, let me tell you something. It's a sad state of affairs when an older person has to choose between food and their medicine because they're broke. You know? Oh, yeah, Sheena. And if he will feed the birds, he will make a way for everyone who believes. But, it's it's really, everything does cost too much. It really does. And we're certainly not getting any kickback from that. You know what? But, I thought I'd bring that up because this affects the entire world. It's not just, it's a global, the especially the United States of America, which is one of the greatest entities around. But look where we're at. Just look at it. It's embarrassing. And that's our right to, you know, that is our right to vote. And I think everyone should vote. And we're not slamming neither party. I'm just telling you what I see, and I'm not connecting it with anybody. But that's what I see: high gas prices, food going up, these people in the streets, and the veterans. Oh, does that fire me up? Yeah, sin has definitely caused this mess. Greed, right there, greed. You're right. And, we're like a pawn of someone else's mistakes. It don't affect them, but it sure affects us. And I know I sound fired up, but hey, if it's if it's a spade, it's a spade. It's just that, I'm more so upset about the veterans, and it's terrible to see a homeless veteran or something like that. Someone who has served this country, that has given us the right to vote, and they're treated like garbage. They're in the streets, they ain't got nowhere to go. They're hungry, and I'm tired of it. You know, it's getting old. Take care of the veterans, for heaven's sakes. You know, I'm up on my soapbox, but it's true. We have to, and we do have to pray for this country because, yes, America first. I agree. My pal Sal, America first. You've got, it's really a sad state of affairs, you guys. I don't know. Have we gone too far that we can never get back? That's my question. There's such a mess that, excuse me, that it could take forever to get it in line. I mean, I don't know. It's really, I've been really paranoid, and I mean paranoid. Especially if you have kids that are going to be the next adults and the voters and everything like that. It's really scary, guys. But, and I hate to say it, but I think there'll be a lots of drama between now and by the time they figure it out. And it's crazy. That just goes to show you the shape that this world is really in, where you can't trust somebody. People lie, they cheat, steal, not not for America, but for theirself. They don't care about that. They just want that big prestigious thing. And I'm not saying all of them don't care, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It's really sad to, but hopefully, the things that the reason why the world's the way it is started, it's not just, it went way back. Then the next president had to straighten out the other presidents, then the next president, and clean up the mess. Or it seemed like it's always been messy. You know what I'm talking about? But I just hope that there's no riots, and there could be. I mean, there could be some horrible things go on, but let's hope there's not. But we can only be held accountable for our actions, not someone else's. Thank you, God, because we'd be in trouble. We'd be punished for someone else's sins. That's for sure. So. Well, guys, it's the 4 o'clock hour. I'm going to go ahead and let you go, but let's have a prayer for America, the United States, the greatest entity around. And let's pray that peace and love does prevail, and it's not a big circus out there after. So we're going to go ahead and go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we know the election is in full swing. Please, Lord, put your mighty hand down in the decision on who becomes our next leader, Lord, because you look down here and you can see what's going on and all the I can't even talk, corruptness that's going on. Please, Lord, let it be your will and not ours. You already know the outcome, and you're going to do the thing that's the best for us. And I just pray, Lord, that you put your mighty hand down and just help us with what's to come in the future, Lord. The future we don't know about, but we know what you have done for us in the past, which we are very grateful. But I pray, Lord, that you put your hand down and let it be your will, not ours, because you are the creator of all things, the master of everything. Lord, be with each of us, Lord, as we finish out this day. May you bless everyone that's in the chat or anyone that may be watching. And all this I pray in your heavenly, heavenly name. Amen. Yep. That's wonderful, you guys. Yep. We live in a great nation, you guys. We really do. I mean, there's nothing that we can't do, but we want to move forward and get things straightened out and fixed. And it might take a while, just saying. And I really appreciate each and every one of you being here. God bless you. You guys really make my day. I feel really blessed with your presence here. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next Tuesday on this same channel. Love you guys. Take care. Thank you so much.